All right. Before we get into how Djokovic is going to do at the US Open, I just want to congratulate the people at Pop-Tart for finally bringing back the Apple Pop-Tart. And yes, this is exactly how you have to make it. You might think I messed up. B2 is going insane in this crate. You got to burn the Pop-Tart a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. Of course, he waits till I go live to decide to go nuts. B2, stop it. He is going crazy in there. He voluntarily went in his crate. He likes to hang out in the crate. It's kind of interesting. There he goes again. B2. B2. Come on. Calm down. He is just as excited for the US Open as I am. We just got back from Cincinnati, and it was a great tournament. Got to see Rublev versus Medvedev live. That was an intense match. And Rublev actually won that match. And it kind of has the field wide open, I think. You know, you have Djokovic coming back. Now, I did say before the Olympics, I'm like, I don't like him playing the Olympics. If he doesn't play the Olympics, I feel like he's a shoo-in for the US Open. That's how strongly I believe in Djokovic's ability and how far he is ahead of everybody else. So him going to play the Olympics definitely did hurt. But I don't think it's a deal breaker, right? It's certainly not a deal breaker. He's Djokovic, and if he's healthy, then he's definitely the favorite. But after the Olympics, he did say that he was dealing with not just one, but multiple injuries, guys. So the question becomes, how healthy is he? How good is this timing? It's not a great preparation to skip the Cincinnati tournament. Ultimately, if you're doing well, you want to play that Cincinnati tournament. But one thing that was interesting, Rublev beat Medvedev when we went out there. Medvedev was looking unbeatable. And we got to, my friend Matt from Coffee Break Tennis is incredible, got to be in this little inner circle where Rublev's coach was talking. And then they were talking about, he was saying how basically the tour pretty much knows that Djokovic has 2 years to dominate, that they're all kind of jockeying for position to take over in 2 years because they realize he's too good. And then Matt said something like, well, do you think he'll be ready for the US Open? And Rublev's coach with a very serious face goes, Djokovic is always ready. So Djokovic will be ready. And I had him after Wimbledon. I would have said it's almost 100% certainty that he was going to win the Grand Slam. Now that he is going through where he had to have what had at the Olympics, which certainly was disappointing. Not only did he lose twice, he then tarnished his reputation even more by throwing his racket kind of like into the, did he hit a ball into the stands, or he actually tossed his racket? I forget. And then he threw his racket really hard into the net. And then there's like this picture of him throwing the racket into the net and the ball kid going like this. I always say that he is like the Larry David of tennis. So, curb your enthusiasm. So anyway, it didn't go well at the Olympics. And then he said, I'm not dealing with one, but multiple injuries. So that puts a big question mark on the US Open. I put him right now because everybody, was kind of thinking maybe I'm a Djokovic hater. It's the opposite. I believe so much in his abilities that if he would have just taken care of his body, rested, had the proper preparation for the US Open, I give him a 100% chance to win. I don't think anybody can beat him. Now that he hasn't had the proper preparation, I still put him at 60 to 70% chance to win this thing. He's still the favorite. He's just got more question marks. Bashkar is there. Hey, Pete, how are you, Bashkar? You're not going to like this, Bashkar. I am having an apple Pop-Tart. I haven't had a Pop-Tart in years. And the reason why is because the apple Pop-Tart is my favorite Pop-Tart. It is so good. And they stopped making it. But it's back now. Sunflowers says it doesn't matter. 3 slams at 34 is already legendary. That is true. That is true. 3 slams at any age is legendary. But the bottom line is Djokovic is good enough to win the Grand Slam. And, if he wins the Grand Slam and passes Federer and Nadal, no one ever can say he's not the greatest. We know that the people's choice is Roger and then Rafa. And so Novak kind of has to work even harder at proving the case that, no, I'm the GOAT. Like, if they all 3 finish with 20, I bet you the way history goes, even though I still think Djokovic would still be the GOAT, I bet you a lot of people would still pick Federer as the GOAT. If they all 3 tied at 20, because people love the way Federer plays, they just love everything about him, I think most people, and I'm not saying it's right, I think most people would say Federer is the GOAT. They all 3 tied at 20. Everybody can have their argument of why their favorite player is the GOAT. If Djokovic goes through this year and he wins the Grand Slam and he passes Roger and Rafa at 21, then that's it, guys. That's checkmate. I mean, that makes him the GOAT for sure. And he's got a great opportunity because, Roger, Rafa, not there. They're not there. And so they can't do anything about it. It's wide open for Djokovic. But I will tell you this, guys, going to watch the Western Southern Open, he's not playing a bunch of chumps out there. I mean, these guys are fighting hard and they're really amazing, especially what's kind of surfacing now. And there's certainly nothing even dominant to Roger, Rafa, and Novak. I'm not comparing them at all, but it is nice to see that in Cincinnati, the top 4 seeds, which were Medvedev, Rublev, Zverev, and Tsitsipas, they all got to the semifinals. They all finished in the final 4. That was nice to see that. That was nice to see that they actually lived up to their seeding, which has been a big problem on the tour for a while. Everybody that we look as potential, next to the throne, who can come and be the next after Roger, Rafa, and Novak, it's always been a big disappointment. Well, the top 4 seeds got to the semifinals, and then Zverev, if you look at what he's been doing, Alexander has been extremely consistent. I think, again, kind of like Novak, he's not the people's choice. So he just keeps flying under the radar. But if you really look at what this guy's done, he played great at the US Open last year. He should have won. He was up 2 sets. Should have won that match. So he should already have a Grand Slam. And then at the Australian Open, he played very well. Gave a Novak a very tough match, probably the toughest match out of anybody did at the Australian Open. Did very well on the clay court. Had a great clay court season. I know he won 1 tournament. He might have won 2. I know he beat Rafa on the clay. Wimbledon didn't do well, but now again, look what he's doing on the hard court. Just won Cincinnati. So, is he the next guy? Who's the next? Who can knock off Djokovic and win this tournament? Let's talk about that. Who are they? It's becoming more clear who they are, which is kind of nice. I think it comes down to a couple people that if Novak's not going to do it, he's at the top of the list. Alexander Zverev's at the top of the list. Tsitsipas looks like he's coming on strong again. Played very well at Cincinnati. How crazy was that when he did go into the locker room? Do you think was it a coincidence that the dad is on the phone the whole time and Tsitsipas goes to the restroom for 10 minutes? Was that just a strange coincidence? And maybe the dad had a break and he was texting mom, of just how she's doing at home or he doesn't necessarily, he could have had a break from the match and decided, I have to text somebody at home. I mean, not necessarily coaching Tsitsipas, but certainly looked very suspicious. What do you guys think? But anyway, Tsitsipas looks like he's right there. Medvedev, I started to think if Medvedev would have won Cincinnati, I would have thought, okay, he's the favorite now because of match toughness. He played incredible in Canada, and then at the Cincinnati tournament, Western Southern Open, he was stomping people until he lost to Rublev. He was crushing people. In fact, he beat Casper Ruud in the round before, or was it Batista Agut? I think it was Batista Agut. He beat him 1-1. He beat him 1-1, guys. And what was impressive about Medvedev's little run until he lost to Rublev is he was beating all types of players. He was beating like Riley Opelka. John Isner had the huge serve. He was beating the consistent baseliner. He was beating the hard hitters. He would the all-court players. Didn't matter who Medvedev was playing against. He was destroying them, reminding me very much of Djokovic when Djokovic goes into lockdown mode where he just doesn't miss. And he even did. I was at the Cincinnati tournament. I watched him play the first set against Rublev. It was amazing how Rublev turned that match around. This is the match where you didn't see Medvedev ran across the court, ran into the camera, and fell over on the camera, and then he kicked the camera. I mean, a lot of people think that was the turning match more than what Rublev did, but Rublev did a lot. He really fought hard. But in that first set, Rublev played great, and Medvedev handled him very easily. So, I mean, Medvedev is right there. He is right there. He's, again, when he gets into a rhythm, he's so tough to win points against. So he's at the top of the list. Rublev is starting to play really, really good tennis. He's starting to play really good tennis, and I'm telling you what, I always knew he hit the ball hard. When you watch him on TV, you're like, man, he swings out of his socks every shot, and it looks like he's hitting the ball really hard. When you watch him live, it's amazing. He is absolutely crushing. He might have the fastest racket at speed on the forehand I have ever seen. I mean, he just crushes that forehand. So I think those are the guys. Maybe Shapovalov has an outside chance. Maybe he's playing a little better. He's showed some maturity this year. He's been a tough person to beat this year. Felix Auger-Aliassime, he's been tougher. Karatsev seems to have cooled off and kind of went away. I was really excited about him earlier in the year, but I'm struggling to think of who else is a legit contender besides Novak. What do you guys think? All right, let's see here. So let's see what you guys are saying. You told that you are going to eat healthy. I know. I was eating healthy all week. I was eating healthy all week until I saw these yesterday. I was having I was basically living off of like hummus and some healthy fruit bowls. I was doing very well. And then nah. Thank you. Love the channel. Underrated. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mehdi might be the man, said Bishkar. I agree. I feel that the Olympics loss has downgraded the calendar slam if he wins in New York. Yeah, I mean, if he wins in New York, who cares what happened at the Olympics? I mean, Djokovic can totally vindicate himself right now, right? He can avenge his loss at the Olympics. And like I was saying, this is the reason why I didn't think why he should have gone. Of course it's great to go play for your country. If you can pull off the Golden Slam, yeah, do it. But I thought, as I looked what he did, winning the Australian Open and had some tough matches on clay. There were 2 matches where he was down 2 sets, and one of them was in the finals. And then he went right on the grass and won Wimbledon. I don't care who you are. You don't come out of that and not have some kind of injuries, not be exhausted. And that's exactly what happened at the Olympics. It was just too much. And I thought, yeah, I mean, if you can get the Olympics in, great. But it was just, the Olympics was bad time. It's like he just won so much, and then you got to go right into the Olympics and try and win that. And then you've got to come over to the United States, and really the ideal preparation is playing the Western Southern Open. And that didn't happen because of the Olympics, because he tried to do too much. It was a great thing that he was trying to play for his country. It's really cool that you're trying to win the Golden Slam, but he exhausted himself. I mean, this is not a theory. This is literally out of Novak's mouth. I'm exhausted. I hit the wall. I have more than one injury. So it then became a big question mark of how can he rebound after that. And he decided the best way to rebound was to go a little unconventional, skip Cincinnati, and now he's on the practice courts. In fact, we'll take a look at him on the practice courts. And to me, he looks really good. I think if you are a Djokovic fan, you're breathing a big sigh of relief because he doesn't look injured. He looks fresh. There's even an Instagram post. I'm not going to show you this one, but I saw an Instagram post where he was hitting with who's that guy? Pospisil from Canada. And he was laughing and smiling. He was bragging about how hard they were working. He was, and Pospisil was saying, "Yeah, this is really, really tough." He's like he was exhausted, and you could see on his face the popsicle. Matt calls him popsicle. Let's just call him popsicle. Pospisil, you could see that he was tired, but you could see that Novak kind of liked that. You could see he I wore this dude down. You could see the pride Novak was taking in them working really hard, and then it was really hot. So I think Novak kind of made that post is kind of like to show everybody I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm going to be okay. I'm healthy. I'm feeling good. So, that again really, really puts Novak right there at the top of the list. Like I said, if he didn't play the Olympics and just was able to rest, I'd put him at 100% chance of completing the Grand Slam. That's how confident I am in Novak. But now I put him at 60 to 70% chance. That's still a high percentage. So I hope Novak fans, can live with that and are not going to hate on me to say that their man has like a 60 to 70% chance of winning, okay, the Grand Slam. That's how good he is. Okay, Fed fans can only say Federer is the GOAT if they stay at 20. But if they know how deep inside, not true, Djokovic supporters can say he is the GOAT, and the facts will back it up. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if Medvedev and Tsitsipas can beat Djokovic. They can get a great shot at the Open, the French Open, but ultimately have melted in the finals. The same goes for Zverev, best of 5. Well, that's true. And I don't know if you caught what I was saying earlier. We were in Cincinnati. Matt from Coffee Break Tennis was sitting around. I think Bashkar was probably there too, sitting around Rublev's coach. They were hanging out at the bar in Cincinnati. You have to go to our masterclass clinic if you've never gone before. It's awesome. So Rublev came in. He had like a hoodie on. He ate, and then he left. And then, of course, our stalkers who were, our campers at the Cincinnati, they started to gather around Rublev's coach. And Rublev was talking about how they all know, the entire tour knows that Djokovic, if he's healthy, has like 2 more years of dominance. They know he is just another level above them. They know this. And so it's like they're all jockeying for position. They're trying to get better in these next 2 years to see who is going to be the next wave. Of course, they still believe they can win a match against Djokovic. They can sneak a Grand Slam away from him, but they understand that he is the top dog and will be for the next couple of years if he's healthy. So that's absolutely right. I mean, they don't fully believe yet that they can beat Djokovic, and that's a big deal because remember what it took for Djokovic to finally start to beat Nadal and Federer consistently was he said in the beginning, I just didn't believe that I could. I didn't believe that I was as good as those guys. Once he believed it, once he changed his diet, once he got his fitness better, whatever it was that they did to prepare his mind and his body to get another level of confidence. Once Djokovic believed he could beat those guys, I mean, I hate to tell Fed fans and Nadal fans this. I mean, Djokovic has been beating everybody like a drum for like 12 years, not just a couple of years, guys. This is the longest streak of dominance I can remember on the men's side. And a lot of people, I think, still give credit to Federer because he was so dominant for so long that a lot of people think that Federer had the longest streak of dominance. But if you really look at it, I mean, this is now 12 years. Federer didn't dominate for 12 years. Federer did not. He's always been at the top. But he did not dominate the sport for 12 years. if you look at what Novak's doing, he's dominated the sport for like 12 years now. I mean, maybe it's 11 years. I mean, but it's longer than anybody I've ever seen do it. And I've watched a lot of great players. All right, let's see here. Only if Djokovic is under 80%, the others have a good shot. Nadal was already hurt at the French Open. Otherwise, Steroidovich wouldn't even be close. First of all, it would be close. You know, Djokovic and Nadal, they both have a chance to beat each other every time they step on the court. Very disrespectful to say that either of them doesn't have a chance against anybody. I mean, Nadal, of course, is the favorite. Of course, he's the favorite at the French Open and always will be when you win that thing 13 times. But Djokovic, when he steps on the court with Nadal, always has a chance. They both have a chance. They're both amazing. I mean, you know, that's why it's so fun to watch. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen just so we can take a look at Djokovic in action a little bit, just so especially Djokovic fans can see that he appears to be looking good, feeling fit. So this is on the Djokovic Nole YouTube channel. So you might want to subscribe to that. It's kind of cool. And here he's hitting balls. And, you know, we don't see anything wrapped up. Everything, you know, there's nothing on the knees, nothing on the elbows, nothing on the wrists. So he looks to be pretty fit, as always. And as Rublev's coach, he's hitting with Casper Ruudboy over there. And as Rublev's coach says, Djokovic is always ready. That's how much they respect him. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, you definitely got to respect him. And the pros certainly respect what he can do on the court. And, you know, technically perfect. And he looks pretty good, guys. So I'm going to say that, you know, it really, well, that's kind of cool. You know, look. There's Djokovic in a class. Everybody hates on Djokovic. I like Djokovic. Again, I just think he just like has this quality like Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm, where he just seems to always be caught doing something not quite right, but he tries so hard to do the right thing. A lot of times he does a million right things. He's great to the kids. Okay, let's see. Some of you guys are picking Alexander. You say he's zoning now. Looks level-headed. Yes, he does. He looks level-headed. He's hitting some monster serves, especially some monster second serves. He's peaking at the right time. Zverev destroyed at Western Southern Open, okay? And then he had a great win. Pulled that one out against Tsitsipas. That was an awesome match. Maybe he will win the Golden Slam this year. What? I don't get. Oh, gold. No, you're not going to win the Golden Slam. Nole is the candidate for the best athlete of all time. I totally agree. And yeah, I mean, if you're winning the way he's winning, it's one of the most amazing things. Who ran? Oh, Nadal. Basically saying Nadal ran out of steroids. So there's somebody, a real hater. Sunflowers of Inferno is a real Nadal hater and say he ran out of steroids and withdrew. No, actually, Nadal is super tough. He's got a foot injury. Got a foot injury from the French Open, maybe even before the French Open, but he definitely aggravated it against Novak and hasn't been the same since. So, and not to say that Novak wouldn't have won that match anyway, but it did happen deep into the third set. I have inside information on that. So there you go. Pete, can't wait for Matt's CBT US Open draw show. Yes, that will always be a good one, Bashkar. I agree. Bashkar was with us in Cincinnati. He knows how awesome it was. No hater, just replying to this other hater. Okay, so there's haters going back and forth on the chat. Come on, guys. Can't we all get along? So anyway, there you go. That's just a little recap. I'm picking Novak still. I have him about 60-70% chance of winning, and he looks healthy. So I think if you're a Djokovic fan, you got to be feeling good about that. And you know, there's no Nadal, no Federer. That can make it kind of like boring for some people. I know sometimes I think it's boring when they're not there, but watching the Cincinnati Open, watching it live, I started to really get excited about, respect Rublev's game. He's pretty fun to watch in person. You can see these guys are going 100 miles an hour. They're giving 100%. You know, they're working really hard on their game. Sometimes we don't give them enough credit for how hard they actually work. When you watch them play, they're clearly in great shape. They clearly take their craft seriously. They work really, really hard. It was so hot in Cincinnati, and they really, really work hard. So got to start to respect these young guys a little more. I got to do a better job of that myself. Medvedev is incredible to watch live. How he moves across that court for being such a big guy. It seems like there's almost no place to go. It's pretty interesting how he moves back, and it's even hard to get the angles to work against him. You'd think when you see people move back that it'd be easy to, start to use drop shots or angles or things like that. But sometimes it just plays in their hands. He moves. He's just all over the place. So he's awesome. He's got a chance. He's a little hard to like, but he's fun to watch. Let's see. Tsitsipas, really love Tsitsipas. Love to see him win. Bush League move. If that's true, what happened in the locker room, he was getting coached by his dad. I mean, come on. That's crazy. That's bad look. Maybe it just looked bad. Maybe the dad was fully engaged in the match. Tsitsipas goes to take a break. Maybe he's texting back home somewhere. I don't know. Probably not, though. It definitely looked very suspicious. And Alexander pointed out he does this like every match. So they kind of know. They kind of know what's going on. So especially when you call somebody out like that, the fans are watching, you're calling out to the umpire, and you're saying it happens every match. It's not the first time you thought it. So it's probably a thing. Thoughts on Williams sisters not playing the US Open? Yeah, I mean, it's Jason asked this. Thoughts on Williams sisters not playing US Open? It's sad. It's things are definitely changing. It is as they say, father mother time, however you want to say it. It's undefeated. The Williams sisters, especially Serena, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic still. I mean, they've been able to push that father time back, way back, longer than most can do. But I think now we're really starting to see it. It's starting to really, really happen. Roger is getting another knee surgery, and he made an announcement that it's going to take several months to recover. He still wants to come back on the tour, but it's going to take several months to recover. So it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. If entire generation was full of Feds and Dows, would none of them be called the GOAT? Well, no, they're different guys. They're another level. I mean, they're another level. How many Grand Slams do you think? I mean, there's not an entire generation full of Feds, Djokovic, Nadals. They still beat everybody in every generation. So no, I mean, it's not that everybody's just as, the reason why no one's dominating is that everybody's just as good as Roger, Rafa, and Novak. No, when they're healthy and they're playing, even near 40 years old, they still win. So that just goes to show how much better they are than every generation's ever played. Roger will be back and win at least one Wimbledon. Bishkar, you're such a hopeful thinker. I mean, I would just like to see him back on the court and maybe have a couple big wins would be cool. How many Grand Slams do you think the big three will finish on? Well, I think Feds finish on Grand Slams, 20. Amazing. I was talking to my brother yesterday. 60 Grand Slams between the three of them. That's 15 years of Grand Slams. The three players. I mean, think about that. Three players have 15 years of Grand Slam titles. So I think Fed has done it 20. Novak, it's all about how healthy he can stay. People think he's good. The players themselves thinks he's got about 2 more years. So let's say they're right. He could win 2 a year. That's another 4. Yeah, I think he might end up anywhere between 24, 26 majors. Djokovic. Nadal, I see maybe 3 more if he maxes out. You know, that foot injury is a big if. He might not be able to get back on the court the way he wants to, especially his game's so physical. So, I put Nadal best case scenario at 23. Worst case scenario, this foot thing doesn't work its way out, doesn't work itself out, and it's 20. So, I mean, it could very well be. There you go. I'm done. I'm going to finish my Pop-Tart, and my coffee. This is the way, guys. Let me know if you agree. Comment below. This is the way you eat a Pop-Tart. You don't make it all nice and white frosting. You want to burn it a little bit. You want that burn in there. Trust me, if you've never done this before, you want that little golden brown burn on the frosting. It's much better. It is. Try it. If you agree, like this video, and we'll see you on the next video.